Should you live in San Marcos, California? Today I'm going to go over the pros and the cons of living in San Marcos, San Diego. It is never too early to get started a conversation. It may take a year. My number's below. Reach out and call or text me. All right, let's get into it. San Marcos has changed a ton since I moved here to North County 25 years ago from the Bay Area. There are some good and some not so good things about living here in San Marcos. So without further ado, what are some of the good things and what are some of the not so good things about living in San Marcos? As we go over this, guys, remember, we're still in San Diego County. So to be honest, in my opinion, there's really nothing bad about living in San Marcos. It's just really in comparisons to living in other areas of San Diego. It's not like you're coming from the cold or the freezing, but we're just really comparing this compared to other areas of San Diego. Okay, number one, negative thing about living in San Marcos, the heat. Well, no, this is not Texas or Florida, but in comparison to the coastal communities of Carlsbad and Oceanside, which are the neighbors, the heat is hotter. Again, nothing like a super hot place like Arizona, but in comparison, San Marcos can be about 3 to 7 degrees hotter than the coastal communities. This means that the average temperature here in the summertime usually is in the high 80s, sometimes even the low 90s. And I would say this is a place you should have air conditioning because there are a few weeks every year that are extremely hot and you'll be grateful that you have that air conditioning. You're also going to find homes that have more pools in San Marcos versus if you lived near the coast. Another negative about living in San Marcos is the traffic. In the last 25 years, man, this place has developed so much. And this is off the 78, which is honestly one of the worst freeways in San Diego. It's just not very large and tons of people are using it to get from inland to the coast. And with the growth, traffic has really, really grown. There's a ton of back ways to go that I can always help you, but traffic is an issue. Another negative that I think is the constant growth. They are building a lot in San Marcos. San Marcos used to be all dairy farms. There used to be a big dairy called Hollandia, rolling hills and farms and cows. And now we've had tons of new developments that continue to be built. It started with San Elijo and a couple of other areas that border Carlsbad. Also, Rancho Tesoro is a new community, and they've just started building about 1,000 new homes next to Cal State called Mission Circle. If you want information, make sure to reach out to me. Also, Cal State San Marcos is growing by leaps and bounds. There are actually more students living on campus there than there ever have been before. And they're building something called North City with more housing, co-working spaces. There's a rock climbing gym there now. So there's a ton of more growth. This does lead to more congestion, but it also really, really helps the economy. And it is really well-planned growth. Some of my favorite things and the pros and the positives about living in San Marcos. Well, number one, great education. The schools here are amazing. So out of our North County area, San Marcos rates probably only second to Poway. The San Marcos really has attracted a ton of families because of this award-winning schools, which then in turn continue to make the schools more and more amazing. We had new schools built in San Elijo. San Marcos High School got completely refurbished, and it's just really award-winning school district. While the cost of living is still high, another pro here, guys, is more affordable. I know that seems weird that I'm saying that because we always talk about cost of living in San Diego, but if you look at the cost of living in San Marcos compared to Carlsbad, which is next door, you will see it's actually more affordable to live in San Marcos. As of the day I'm making this video, the median price for homes in San Marcos is hovering right around $760,000 for a single family home. And in Carlsbad, for a comparable single family home, you're looking at $1,012,000. Yes, over $1 million for just a standard home. So you can see that it's actually a little bit cheaper to live in San Marcos than it is in other areas of San Diego County. Another great thing about living in San Marcos, California, is things to do. There is a ton of things to do. The weather always allows for people to be outside. Lots of outdoorsy things to do. Discovery Lake is a man-made lake with a wonderful trail around it. If you have small children, they can ride their bikes. If you like to run, it's a great running, jogging trail. You can feed the ducks there. I think you can even fish. I'm not sure about that. Additionally, it goes back into the big trail system for Double Peak Park. That is one of my favorite places to hike. So tons of hiking, tons of outdoors trails. The city of San Marcos has done a really good job in planning their open space to be usable for the residents. If you like to golf, not a big golfer, but if you like to golf, then you have a lot of choices here in San Marcos. We have Lake San Marcos, which recently got refurbished and has a wonderful resort and a great restaurant there called Decoy. There's a little golf, smaller executive golf course called St. Mark's, and they have a fun place to get some burgers and brews when you're done with golfing. Both are still really affordable, and you can enjoy that all year round. Restaurants, another pro here. San Marcos has a lot of restaurants. We have things like Restaurant Row, but San Elijo Hills, where you can walk to Lost Abbey Brewery, wonderful. The Tapas Restaurant, wonderful. There's just so many cool restaurants popping up there. In fact, this is where Stone Brewery started before they moved to their big Escondido location. There's a ton of different restaurants to try and sample. Of course, we have great Mexican food, but I'd really invite you to try some of the other amazing restaurants that are popping up, and I'll put a list in my descriptions below. That's pretty much it for today's pros and cons. If you're interested in getting on a list of brand new construction homes, I'll put a link below as well. My kids graduated from San Marcos High School. I've called it home for a long time, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful place to live. Make sure you check out the link below as well to all the areas that you can get some more in-depth understanding on my website. And you guys, thanks so much for checking out my channel. Please leave me a comment and reach out. I'd love to hear what you think and love to hear how I can help.